shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real myself. My dad haven't seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real myself. My dad haven't seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help.
Money, money, money. That's all you got to like for being wealthy. I know you like Kanye West says, having money is not everything, not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's the wrong. You don't like money so much, why do you get up and go to work? Yeah, I do get about all the things that are ridiculous. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. It's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. And now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Mr. H Cortez.
Good morning, Black World, and welcome to Talking Money in the Morning Live with your main man, H Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, where I do my absolute best to bring practical yet proven wealth building strategies to working men and women all over this great nation of ours. It is truly an honor, privilege, and a blessing to be coming to you live and direct from the Black Wealth Movement Studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. Guys, I got a couple quick announcements and then want to get right into today's content. If you are in the St. Louis area and you want to learn how to build generational wealth from scratch, I'm having a private workshop at a buddy's barbershop this coming Sunday from 4:45 till 7. Cost is $15. I will give you a blueprint and a game plan for you to start building wealth the same day that you come to that event. Right. Yeah, that's what we're doing. $15 to learn how to start the process of building generational wealth and get help every step of the way. Don, I see you top of the morning, brother. So if you're interested in it, I need you to jump in my inbox, or if you scroll on my page, you'll see the event is there. But it's better to jump in my inbox so I can send you the direct link so you can go ahead and buy your Eventbrite ticket. And I want to see you guys this Sunday. 4:45 doors will open. We will kick off the lecture right at 5. I'm going to drill into you for 2 hours and give you a blueprint for building wealth. Unfortunately, guys, this is a private webinar, private lecture series with some exclusive content, so it will not be streamed live. But if you want this type of lecture to come to your city, then get in my inbox and let's talk, and we can work something out to where I can come and do this in your town, in your area. But if you're in the St. Louis area, then I want you to go to Eventbrite, and you can just search for Generational Wealth Blueprint, and you'll see my flyer. Go ahead, grab your ticket, and show up on Sunday, man. I'm going to lay it out for you how you can build generational wealth from scratch. If that is your aim, I got the perfect game plan for you, and we'll spell it all out there. So for those of you who don't know me, I am, again, H Cortez, one and only financial health mentor to the Black community. And what we do on this show each and every morning is we try to uplift, encourage, and teach our people some principles about wealth, about life, about money, about business, all these sorts of things, so you can take your family to the next level. For those of you who are new, then let me tell you exactly who this show is for. It's for risers and grinders only. If you're ready to get up, get out, and get something, then this, my friend, is your show. If you are trying to build that legacy that I discussed for the Black Wealth, the Generational Wealth Blueprint, then this is your show. On the other hand, if you're sitting back waiting on a handout, if you're sitting back saying that you're just going to sit on your hands and wait till Donald Trump gets out of office before you make a move, this ain't your show, man. We are about moving and shaking. And if that's not you, I get it. But you might want to exit stage left, because if that's not you now and you start hanging out with us too long, that's going to become you. If you're a pessimistic type person and you love being that person, you might want to exit stage left now, because if you hang around us too long, you change from pessimistic to optimist, right? So for those of you who don't know already, you are looking at a future billionaire. 2027 is going down. I will be a billionaire by choice. So if you don't like that kind of stuff, you can exit stage left, and we will not miss you. So today's show is all about vision. There's two things that will cause the people to perish according to the Bible. You guys know what those two things are? There's two things, according to the Bible, that will cause an entire people to perish. Not a person, an entire people to perish. What does the good book say? It says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge, right? So knowledge is one of those things that will cause an entire people to perish. That's why it was illegal for a slave to learn how to read. Our people will perish for the lack of knowledge. But the second thing the good book says that will cause a people to perish is where there is no vision, the people will also perish. Wait a minute. So if you don't have knowledge, you will perish. And if you don't have vision, you will perish. See, even if you have knowledge, right, you can still perish for a lack of vision. I want you guys to get that, man. Hang with me this morning. We're going to lay out some things, and I want to give you the Black Wealth Movement's vision for Black America. And if you're not a part of the Black Wealth Movement, you might want to consider really getting with us on this, because somebody has got to do this. So there's three forms of knowledge that you need in America to be sufficient. You're going to need a scholastic knowledge. That's a no-brainer, right? Hey, Krista Lee, I missed you, man, in ATL this weekend, but that's all right. We'll be back in a couple months. You need a scholastic education, guys. That means you have to learn how to read, write, and do basic arithmetic. Perfect. Got it. We understand that. Now, do you need 15, 16, 18, 20 years of a scholastic education? In my opinion, that is debatable. That is debatable. But you do need to be able to read on a 5th grade level. You do need to be able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Do you need calculus? Do you need algebra? No, it's debatable, depending on what field you're going into. Second type of knowledge you're going to need a vocational knowledge, right? You're going to need some sort of knowledge to create a living or a lifestyle for you. Some sort of knowledge is going to allow you to do some activities to generate some income. You're going to need a vocational knowledge, right? That's a no-brainer. You're going to, whether it's a trade, whether it's or doing something and administratively, maybe you know how to sell. You're going to need some sort of vocational education to make a living for yourself, right? Both of those are taught in school to a degree. The one that is not taught in school is the financial education, right? And that's what the Black Wealth Movement is all about. We're missing the most critical form of education there is, right? Is that's the finance. When you live in a capitalistic democracy, as we do here in America, if you don't understand capitalism extremely well, if you don't understand business, if you don't understand how the money system works in this country, you're going to struggle financially, period. And you got to get a financial education. Now, when you get that under your belt, you then have to couple that knowledge with a vision. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself going? Who are you becoming, right? Who are you becoming? You have to become first, so you can do the things that you need to do, so you can have the things that the person that you're becoming will have. You have to become first. See, I've already become a billionaire. Now I'm doing the things that billionaires do so I can have the things that billionaires have. Some of you guys are losing in a battle, which when you saw the little cartoons and they showed you the cartoon that had the God figure on the right, the angel on the right, devil on the left, or however they were fixed. You had one good voice on one side and you had a bad voice on the other side. Some of you guys are losing the battle, and I want you to tell, I want you to really help you identify those two voices. The angel and is a type and shadow of the new you. The devil represents a type and shadow of the old you, and they are forever in conflict. Some of you guys are losing the battle where you're trying to become the new you, and the old you keeps talking you out of it. Some of you, I'm telling you, the new you, you're trying to become someone new, someone different. Old you is continuing to rule the decision and keep pulling you back, and you're afraid to cut ties from the old you and completely break away and become the new you. I don't want to leave my friends behind. I don't want people to think that I'm uppity. I don't want to think, man, so you're losing that battle with what you are trying to become because you're trying to hold on to who you once were. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. In order for you to get the growth that you need to become the person that you need to become, to have the things that you see in your vision, you're going to have to cut ties with the old you. Right? You're going to have to die to self every day. Cortez of yesterday is dead. I have to continue in this path to become the new me. So our vision for Black America starts with a Black individual, right? Our vision for Black America starts with a Black individual and the Black wealth movement. So what we want Black people to understand is you need a solid financial education. Most of you, if you're grown, you already got scholastic education, you already got a vocational education, you're probably working a job right now or on your way to one right now. You got that squared away. You, my friend, now have to take some time, energy, effort, and money to start to develop a financial education. You have to understand how the money game is played here in this country if we are ever going to reign over our communities. If we are ever as a people going to practice group economics, if we are ever as a people going to rebuild our communities, is going to start with a solid financial education for every individual. You guys hear me talk about wealth all the time. Why do I talk about wealth and not riches? Because wealth by default is generational. Riches aren't. I'm gonna say that again. Wealth by default is generational. Riches are not. I can get rich in a single generation. And in a blink of an eye, I could be right back broke. That's not generational. Wealth by default is generational. What's the difference? Wealth has more to do with how you make your money. Right? Riches is more about the amount of money you make, not necessarily how. So if I make money with my labor, even if I make $1 million a week, like some ball players do, the moment I stop playing ball, then that $1 million per week stops. And if I had created a $1 million per week lifestyle, then the $1 million per week stops coming in. I go back to being broke. However, if I make my money with passive means and with portfolio income, and my portfolio kicks off $1 million per week, whether I get up and go to work or not, that, my friend, is wealth. Wealth by default is generational. If you can learn, if you ever learn how to build passive income, portfolio income, if you ever learn how to do that, what do you think your children will do? Think your children are going to go work for somebody? If you know how to make passive and residual and portfolio income, aren't you going to teach your children how to do the same thing? Your children are going to say, hey, we live a good lifestyle, but I never see my mom and dad go to work. And they're going to pick up on there's something different. I don't have to work for money. Whatever mom and dad is doing for us to live this wonderful lifestyle and they don't have to go to work, I'm going to do the same thing that mom and dad do. So wealth by default is generational, riches or not. Now, someone can get rich, learn some money strategies, and transform those riches into wealth. But it's not by default. Right? So you have to understand that our basis for what we do as a Black Wealth Movement is help individuals become wealthy through a solid financial education, right? So that is phase one of the Black Wealth Movement. We have a program, and I'm not going to get into all the details about the program. If you want to know more about that, more info.joinhcorteznow.com. I'll put the link in the description. More info.joinhcorteznow.com, or you can text Black Wealth Movement to 314-874-6887. We have a program that will take you from where you are right now to getting on the right side of capitalism and building wealth, right? So that is phase one. We want to help our people go from struggling financially to get a solid financial IQ so they can stabilize their lives, right? How do you guys know that when you are not stable financially, your life isn't stable? At any given minute, something could happen that could send you on a downward spiral because of your lack of monetary resources, right? So don't get it twisted. This isn't a lecture about chasing money. This is a lecture about chasing legacy. Do not get it twisted. I don't talk about chasing money. This is about chasing legacy, right? But when you are out of balance financially, when you are check to check, when you are struggling, man, anything can happen. And you could literally be sent on a downward spiral that could have you homeless in 30 days or less, right? So we start with solidifying your financial education, which will spill out into the practical world of you balancing your finances so you get positive with your cash flow. The end of every month, all your bills are paid and you're positive because you got more money than you have month. We have to get our people there first and foremost. Because there's no group economics when you are suffering personally in your economy. Your personal economy is a wreck. You can't practice group economics. That's why I think that we're failing in a lot of different areas, a lot of different movements. We want group economics. Yes, absolutely, I'm for it. I love Dr. Claude Anderson. I love the elders. I like Marcus Garvey and Honorable Elijah Muhammad and all of those who say we've got to do for self. I love that. But I think we didn't put enough emphasis on the individual becoming personally financially successful. Because when you are personally financially successful as an individual, you got your passive income streams. You could still be going to work, but you're going to work because you got a goal, you got a vision, you got a dream. So you're using that income to fund your mission, your vision, your dream. But you got passive income coming in that if they let you go today, you're okay. Right? We want to get our people there. That's phase one, the Black Wealth Movement. We have a program that can help get you there. That's phase one. Phase 2 is we want those who are serious about practicing group economics. Everybody don't have to be serious about practicing group economics, but everybody needs to be serious about getting on a solid financial footing, right? And then we want to take some of those who want to go to the next level with their wealth and get them to becoming an accredited investor. What an accredited investor, that simply means that you have $1 million in $1 million net worth, not including your house, or you have an income of over $250,000 per year, right? It says, how do I join, and what will it cost you? $35 to join, $35 per month. Just text me Black Wealth Movement 314-874-6887. Or you can go to moreinfo.joincorteznow.com. Somebody put that in the chat for me. Moreinfo.joincorteznow.com. That's just what the program calls. So phase 2 is those who want to go beyond just getting solid. We want you to become an accredited investor. I'm working with my mentors right now, and they said, bro, we need you to become an accredited investor. I'm on a team right now where we're putting together 100 accredited investors. Why accredited investors? Why is that so important? Because when you become an accredited investor at $250,000 of income or more, or $1 million net worth or more, then you get to play on the real side of capitalism, where all the real money is made, right? I want you to imagine that you were an accredited investor about 15 years ago, and you got a call from your money management company, and they say, hey man, we got some insight on this little deal called Facebook. It's kind of a social networking site. It's something revolutionary. It's something new. But you can get in right now. They're about to go public probably in the next 45 to 60 days. But this is what's called pre-IPO, right? This is before the company goes public. Most of the money is made in the business startup phase, then the pre-IPO, and then the secondary market. Not much money is made. There still could be some solid investments there. But how would you like to have gotten the call to buy shares of Facebook when they were 10, 15 cents a share? And as an accredited investor, you're making $250,000 or more per year. You got $1 million net worth. What if you bought 1 million shares of Facebook when they were 10 cents a share? You guys see why being an accredited investor is so important? What if you had gotten a call and said, hey man, there's this thing called Twitter. It's another one of those social networking sites similar to Facebook. They got a little different model, but we think it's going to be big. We looked at all the numbers. We look at everything that they got going on, that rate of growth and all that. But they're getting ready to go public. Right now, shares 8 cents a share. What if you were getting those types of phone calls? Is it worth the say? Everybody put sacrifice in the chat if you think it's worth the sacrifice to get yourself to the place where you're an accredited investor. So one of those phone calls could change your family's future forever. But you got to not only be in position to get the call, but you also have to be in position to drop down 10 grand, 50 grand, 20 grand. If it's worth it to go through some tough sacrifices over the next 3, 4, 5 years to build $1 million net worth and to get your income coming in, right? Get your income coming in, right? Yeah. So yeah, when you become accredited, Elliot, trust me, you're gonna get those connections. Trust me, because once you're listed as a accredited investor, those investors are gonna start calling you. They're gonna start beating down your door, right? So that's kind of what you have to do. Make some sacrifices now, y'all. so that you can position yourself. One of those phone calls, right? What if you got the call and they say, man, there's this online bookstore, and they get 1 million hits on their website every single month. They're about to go public. They're calling themselves the Amazon or something like that, but we think it's going to be big. And right now you can get in at 12 cents a share. How would you, where would you be if you got in a call like that? Right? So phase 2 is to take those who want to go to the next level to become an accredited investor, right? Phase 3. So we're starting with 100. We're starting with 100 accredited investors. This is my vision for my people, right? This is why I go so hard. This is why you see me every day. This is why I'm always promoting my program and soliciting good people who have this type of vision, right? This is why I want people like Elliot on board the team, because he's already doing amazing things. Well, I want him in my organization to help continue to push the envelope even further, right? So you become an accredited investor. We're starting with 100, right? Then the 100 accredited investors will then go and train and help 10 other accredited investors. So now we go from 100 to 1,000. Guess what? If it takes me 3 years to do it, you think I can train somebody to do it in less time than it took me? So we go from 100, right? The 100, each of the 100 is going to then train 10 others to become accredited investors. Now we have 1,000, right? So now we have, you know, the 100 plus a new 1,000 accredited investors, right? Then the goal is to get 1,000 accredited investors conscious about building our community in every major city in this country. What happens if you have 1,000 accredited investors here in St. Louis with me? And we all say, because we can afford it, we've got a $1,000 per month membership dues to be a part of this club. Everybody pays $1,000 per month in membership dues. That's $1 million per month, y'all. How many blocks can we go buy up with $1 million per month? You guys see why vision is so important? This is the vision of the Black Wealth Movement. If you're not part of the movement, we want you to become part of the movement if this is resonating with you. If not, you got some other vision, then cool. Go spell out your other vision, build up your network, and let's get to flipping work, y'all. So phase 1, everybody that's understanding the power of economics need to get with a program that's going to put them on a solid financial footing. Do I think we have the best program? Absolutely. But do we have the only program? Absolutely not. Get with a program that's going to make sure that you get your debts paid off, that's going to make sure you understand business, get you a business, that you're going to make sure that you're not overpaying in taxes. It's going to make sure that you understand credit. It's going to make sure that you understand asset accumulation, because these are the 5 core principles, and the 6th would be insurance. So there would be 6 core principles you need to understand about wealth building if you're going to get on a solid financial footing. Entrepreneurship, tax minimization, debt elimination, credit education, asset accumulation, and asset protection through insurance type vehicles, right? These are the 6 pillars of building wealth. 6 pillars. And then if I wanted to round it out and make it complete, because 7 is the number of completion, then mentorship in all of these areas. Mentorship in these areas. So these are the 6, but then you're going to need a mentor, right? Somebody to help coach you through these areas. So 7 core things, because all wealthy people have mentors. Warren Buffett, worth $100 billion, has mentors, right? So we can't leave that out. So that would be the 7 things that you need to get in under your belt to become. So 1,000 accredited investors in every major city in this country. And if we said dues to be a part of this club is $1,000 per month, and we take those $1,000 per month and we use that to rebuild our communities, game over, guys. Game over. Because what is a community comprised of? And the reason we have to get these accredited investors in place is because now we can truly practice group economics and build our communities. Communities are comprised of 5 things mainly. You guys want to get these down? Hospitals, schools, banks, supermarkets, and real estate. Homes/real estate. This is what makes up a community, guys. Hospitals, schools, banks, supermarkets, homes, and real estate. Hospitals, schools, banks, supermarkets, homes, and real estate. Again, we're talking about vision of our people. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But where there is a lack of knowledge, the people also perish. So we want to first get you financially fit, sound, solid financial IQ. Then we want to have you take your knowledge and transform it into wisdom. How do you get knowledge to transform into wisdom? It's the application of it. You get knowledge to become wisdom through the application. If you're not applying knowledge, then it never becomes wisdom because you have no experience. So we want you to get the knowledge, transform it into wisdom through the application of the knowledge so you gain the experience. And then 1,000 accredited investors in every major city. Then we go and we start building hospitals. Yes, if you haven't already shared this, please share this, because this is the mandate. This is a call to action for Black America, right? So you got 1,000 accredited investors and they all come together. And they say, in order for us to have a community, we need a hospital, right? It costs $1,000 per month to be in our club. So every month, that's $1 million. Let's start building some hospitals, right? Every community needs its own educational system, right? Let me jump on the educational system real quick. You have to understand, education is simply the transference of knowledge. Right? To educate is to transfer knowledge from one person to the next. So the educational system is a system by which you transfer knowledge from one person to the next, or to a group of people, like, you know, the nation. But if education is merely the transference of knowledge, and the educational system is just a system by which you transfer that knowledge, and we don't own our own educational systems, then the first thing has to come in question is the knowledge that's being transferred. The knowledge that is being transferred. See, we have an educational system that is designed to create employees and not bosses. Y'all hear that? We have an educational system that is designed to create employees and not bosses. Who funds the educational system? Corporations. Corporations need you trained up to be an employee. So the educational system, so the knowledge that is being transferred is transferred just enough to condition you for 2 things: to love this country and be an employee. LaShondra, top of the morning. Congratulations on all your accolades this weekend too. The educational system, the information that's being transferred, has 2 main purposes: to make you love this country and condition you to be an employee. You guys know 80% of all billionaires don't have a college degree? %80 of all billionaires didn't finish college. They have college educated people running their corporations. You guys get that? Why? Because they know that college has conditioned those people to be good employees. Right? How many businesses were started by someone who didn't go to college and they're thriving? So we have to, when we start to build our own school system, guys, to teach somebody reading, arithmetic, and sciences, that's not an 8-hour a day thing. It don't take 8 hours a day. If you take all of the fluff out of the education system, take all of the fluff out, your kid is probably getting about 3 hours worth of good instruction. You take all the fluff out. And the reason I bring this up is because the vision of the Black Wealth Movement is to get our children to be reading on the 5th grade level as quickly as possible, getting them to understand mathematics at a 5th grade level as quickly as possible. And you guys know that could be done by the time a child is 7 or 8 years old, right? They don't have to be 11, 12, or 13 to really be. It's the system that we have them going in actually stifles their genius. Yeah, because we're born geniuses. The system that we put our children through stifles their genius. So if we understand that you can build a solid future understanding basic reading, math, and arithmetic at a 5th grade level, we can do that for our children by the time they're 7, 8 years old. Then we can focus the rest of their school years on those things that will make them successful in this world as entrepreneurs, as owners, as producers. Right? 3 hours a day, they are literally doing what they need, getting that scholastic education. The other 3 hours a day, now they're in vocational education, they're learning trades, they're learning skills, they're learning the markets, they're learning everything. So similar to what Dr. Umar Johnson is talking about doing, right? Those are the things that we should be teaching our children, but you can't do that if you don't own the school system. You can't own the school system without capital, right? So that moves us on to banks. If you got 1,000 accredited investors in one community, you got 1,000 people who are worth $1 million. 1,000 people who make at least $250,000 per year, and they're in one major city. Do we need their banks for anything? Listen to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 accredited investors, 1,000 people independently wealthy and conscious about rebuilding our community, and they're practicing group economics, do we need to go to a bank? Or can we pull capital from the $1,000 a month that we're paying in dues as an accredited organization, where we have $1 million a month pot? All we have to do is allocate what we're going to do with that money. This month, we're going to break ground. We're going to go buy the land for the school. Next month, we're going to spend $1 million to have the land cleared from the school. Third month, we're going to have the foundation poured for the school. So on and so forth. We don't need banks. You get enough independently wealthy people with consciousness, right? But we first have to have money to pool. That's the piece that we're missing. Everybody's talking about pooling resources, and that is what we need to do. But we first have to have some resources to contribute to the pool. The Amish are an excellent example. they understand that everything that man needs to survive comes from the land. So they go buy up a bunch of land and they build everything they need from scratch. Build everything they need from scratch. And that's wealth, right? Supermarkets. You guys seen my video of the cotton. You know, I grow a little cotton, I grow a little fruits and a few vegetables and things like that, right? Everybody on this stream right now has family with land in the South. And most of the family we have in the South with land ain't doing nothing with it. I want y'all to think about that. Everybody on this stream has family with land. Even when the great northern migration took place, when we fled the South because of the lynching and the prejudice and moved up north, and we literally pretty much gave up millions of dollars worth of land. We just gave it up. We just left it, right? Even with that, we still, everybody on this stream right now has family in the South sitting on, even if it's nothing but 2 or 3 acres, land that they're not doing anything with. And then those of us who are health conscious, we're complaining about the GMO foods, you know, foods killing us, all that kind of stuff. And we have enough land in our possession right now to create our own supermarket, start growing our own foods right now. Right now. Now, get with a brother like my man Elliot, and he wants to go buy more and more tracts of raw land. He wants to go buy entire cities that are run down, and those are things that can be done, right? But right now, we have enough land to produce food to feed us right now. But someone has to have the vision to say, hey, man, you guys don't have a 1,000-acre farm, but there's 1,000 of you that owns 2 acres apiece. See, that takes vision, right? You don't, not one person may not have a 1,000-acre farm, but there's 1,000 of us that own 2 acres apiece. On your 2 acres, you're growing nothing but lettuce. On your 2 acres, you're growing nothing but tomatoes. On your 2 acres, you're going to go ahead and start the apple orchard. On your 2 acres, you're doing nothing but raising hens. On your 2 acres, you're doing nothing but growing beets. On your 2 acres, you're growing cotton. On your 2 acres, you're growing collard greens, mustard greens. On your 2 acres, you're raising swine. On your 2 acres, it's not hard, y'all. But we have to have vision to be able to make it happen. Because with technology, I don't know if you guys know anything about spin farming, right? It's called small plot intensive. So I can take, if I didn't have this big old basketball court in my backyard, right? I still got a pretty decent sized greenhouse. But if I didn't have this big old basketball court in my yard, right? I could grow enough greens in my backyard to furnish every Black-owned restaurant in the St. Louis metropolitan area with fresh greens every day. You guys want to start a business? Start small plot intensive farming and connect with a couple Black-owned restaurants. And say, every day you cooking these collard greens, every day I'm gonna bring you a fresh 5 pounds of collard greens every day. Average backyard can grow enough produce to service at least 10 to 15 restaurants with fresh produce every day. But you have to have vision to study urban farming. Got to have vision to study and to start preparing for that, right? So we got to have, what about hospitals, right? Do you guys see what's going on throughout the nation? See, I peep game what's going on in St. Louis. The hospitals are breaking down into smaller hospitals that are run by nurse practitioners. They call them urgent care centers. And they're taking a small commercial building, turning it into a mini hospital, and they're calling it urgent care facilities. See, there's some deregulation that's gone on in the medical field where you can literally transform, or you can literally perform almost anything in these urgent care centers that a hospital does outside of major surgery. And you get to accept all the insurances and all that stuff. It's happening all over the country. Get with a couple of nurse practitioners and start opening up some urgent cares in the neighborhood. But then take it one step further and start healing our people and not treating our people. Huh? What? Yeah, we need to start healing our people. They're everywhere because they got the game and gone. I don't have to go to medical school. I can go from being a registered nurse. Then I can take some extra courses to become a nurse practitioner. Now I can go run an urgent care without having to be a doctor. So now we start getting with our brothers and sisters in the nursing field and say, let's start putting up our own urgent care facilities in our communities. They get to make some money. We are providing what we need in our community. Now we have our own everything. But nobody's talking to our nursing brothers and sisters about this as a vision. See, where there is no vision, the people are perishing. Where there is no knowledge, the people are perishing. So you have the knowledge, you've gone to nursing school and you got your degree as a nurse. You've been working in a hospital for 15 years as a nurse. Let's take you back to school for 18 months and you become a nurse practitioner. Then you go open your own urgent care. Right? Open your own urgent care. Yeah, we definitely got to figure out the gas stations thing too. Absolutely got to figure that out. Vision, y'all. Vision. And when you hear a stream like this, if you know people who are in these industries, if you know people in the South, say, hey, let me go back to the farming thing for a second. Let me go back to the farming thing for a second. How many guys up north and every summer you spent your summer down south? How many guys live up north and as a kid, as you were coming up, maybe not every summer, but you spent a few summers down south? Right? Let's take that same thing. And now when we send the kids down south, they're going to get an education. So their summer school begins when they go down south and learn how to farm. And then they bring what they learn from down south for spending a whole summer, and then they duplicate that on a small scale in the backyard. See, it's about skill sets, man. It's about mindset and skill set. It's about mindset. It's about skill set. But we got to have vision, right? How many of our kids, we're sending all of our kids to college. And I'm not dumping on college, but we're sending all of our kids to college. When the smart thing would be to do is to send our best and brightest to college, pay one college tuition, and have our best and brightest to come back to our community and teach everybody else who's interested in that field. Instead of sending all of our children to college, we send the best and the brightest, maybe 2 per field. All the families come together, pitch in our little money, and we say, here are the 2 best and brightest who want to go study engineering. But we have 30 children that want to be engineers. But we're going to send the 2 best and brightest. They're going to go get the education and get certified as engineers. And then they're going to come back and teach the other 30 children how to be engineers for free. You know why we don't like that? Because we are under the belief that since we are going to college to get a job, then we can't come back and teach our people how to be engineers because they can't get a job without the paper. Mindset, skill set. Go get the engineering degree, the knowledge, come back, teach everybody else who's into engineering, and now they don't need to go get a job because the mindset is take our engineering skill set and create a business from our engineering skill set. So how do you determine who's the best of the best? When this is the mindset, then you start grooming those, right? Look at those who have the passion. Look at those who have not only passion for that field, but also or have the patience to come back and teach. Things of that nature. You can create a curriculum. You can create some parameters. You can create some guidelines or something. But this is how we have to start thinking. It doesn't make sense, right? This is where I put on my post, street knowledge plus book knowledge plus financial knowledge equals unstoppable, right? The street says, man, I'm not going to send everybody and pay for everybody to go to college to come back and all do the same thing. No, we're going to send 1 or 2 people to college, save the rest of that money and let that 1 or 2 people come back and teach us. That 1 or 2 people, when that person goes to college, you're going to bring all the books back. You're going to go to the library. You're going to get all the free resources. You're going to bring all of that stuff back to the community. And we're going to set up an engineering school right in our community, in somebody's living room, in somebody's basement, in the back of somebody's store. Right? You say, okay, what are the 30 to do while they're waiting for someone to come back with a degree to get educated? They're going to start their education. So if you send 2 to go to college and you got kids under them, they're still studying engineering programs as they're growing, right? And guess what? Every time those kids come back from college for Christmas break, spring break, or whatever, they're going to be dumping, unloading everything they're learning on those younger kids. And guess what? Those younger kids get to start breaking down that stuff and digesting it while they're younger. Right? So you said, what if they don't come back? There is, see, that's the mindset. When you raise your children with a certain mindset, they're going to come back. The reason you're thinking, what if they don't come back, is because we've been taught to go out and get this education and go out and run and flee to our community. When you condition the mindset, when you create the right culture in what it is that we're doing, and we know that everything we're doing is for the village, they're going to be proud to come back and be excited to come back. And it's going to be mandated that they come back because we paid for them to go for this purpose. That's what we say. Great minds think alike, Kimberly. Great minds think alike, right? Great minds think alike. So that's why I say mindset conditioning is important. Because when you're talking to them as they're coming up, say, hey, here's the task. If you're going to be an engineer, the community is going to pay for you to go get an engineering degree. But your responsibility to the community is that anybody else that wants to become an engineer, you're going to take them under your wing. That's the agreement. Same thing with farming. Same thing with everything else. Right? We've got to start thinking smarter. We got to start really working on this mindset deal. Right? But it starts with a vision. We've got to see a greater tomorrow. Right? One of the things we have to stop doing is complaining so much about the problems. Because when you complain so much about the problems, you make the problems big. And when the problem becomes big in your mind, you think you can't overcome them, so you don't even try. But when all you do is talk about solutions, problems shrink. And when the problem seems small to you, you keep attacking it till you solve it. But when you focus on the problems, you make the problem insurmountable in your mind. It takes vision, man. We got to be able to see ourselves out of this mess. We all we got, but that's enough. We all we got, but that's enough. That's enough. So is this a mindset of segregating? No, it's not a mindset of segregating. It's a mindset of owning what we produce or what we consume. See, every other culture owns what they consume, right? So we don't have to segregate to own. But let's go back to community for a second. Let's go back to community for a second. Right? And this is why we have to be thinking this way. It's not about segregating or separating, but if a catastrophe happened, like down in Harvey or down in Houston, and all of the hospitals focus on dealing with their people first and anybody else second, what happens to us? The only community that don't own a hospital. If a catastrophe happens in, say, and all of the supermarkets took care of theirs first and everybody else second, what happens to the one community that don't own any supermarkets? Don't let people try to play reverse racism card and say you're a separatist for wanting to own your own stuff. But those same people won't share ownership with you with that which they own. You understand that? See, a lot of people want to, when Black people start talking about owning our own communities, the first thing that other cultures start to say is reverse racism or separatism. Nope. I just want to be like you, Papa. Just want to be like you, partner. You own your own supermarket. I want to own my own supermarket. You hire your own children. I want to hire my own children. Right? You have your own schools and you're teaching them a certain way. I want my own schools. I want to teach my children a certain way. But the reason there's a problem with us owning is because everybody else, all other cultures know what real racism is, except us. Racism is the race for world domination. That's really what racism comes down to, is the race for world domination. And you can't even get in the race if you don't own or control the 5 basic necessities that you have to have. You don't have food, shelter, safety, or security. You can't feed yourself. You can't clothe yourself. You can't heal yourself because you have no hospitals. You don't have any safety because you don't have your own police force or military force. You don't have those things, then you cannot get in the race and compete for world domination, because the moment you start coming up, all somebody has to do is cut off your lunch. Right? The moment you start coming up, all somebody has to do, like a US government, we're going to sanction no food supplies going into the Black community. What? What do we do? What does a white supermarket owner say if the government says food, clothes, shelter, safety, and security? And that comes from Dr. Smalls. If you guys are not familiar with Dr. Smalls, he talks about that all the time. Food, clothing, safety, security, and shelter. Right? Those are the basic necessities that we have to have. Right? Basic necessities. Right? We just got to have that stuff in place. So when you don't have that stuff, even if white people who love Black people, we know that there's some white people that have helped us in the struggle, helped us through times of apartheid and slavery, and were part of the Underground Railroad and all of that. But if the government says that we're going to cut you off if you're caught dealing with or helping Black people, what do you think they're going to do? What do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to put their family at risk to save our family? No. We have to have the vision and the forethought to say that all food comes from the land. Let's take our land and start producing our own food. Let's go and buy us 1,000-acre tracts of land, and let's uncover some aquifers and some wells, and let's bottle our own water. Let's produce our own water. All housing material comes from the land. Let's go knock down some trees and create some lumber mills and create some 2x4 so we can build our own houses. All bricks are made of clay and sand. Let's own us some land that we go dig some clay and make some bricks so we can build up some structures. It's not hard. You know why they concentrated Black people in the inner city? You know why they concentrated Black people in the inner city? Because in the inner city, the infrastructure is already owned by everybody else. So you pretty much are in the inner city as renters. So without even realizing, we've been conditioned to not be owners. Right? Project, Section 8 housing. Let's see if we put them all in a free housing project, if that will keep them in a certain mentality to where they will never want to own anything for the rest of their lives. Because when you've owned something for free, you never want to go pay for anything. Right? Yeah. All of that. He said the Democratic Party does that. All of them do that, man. All of them. When you own something for free, or you have something for free, or access to something for free, and you treat it as your own, then that conditions you to never want to go pay for anything. So it's all psychological, man. So we've got to have vision. So that's the vision of the Black Wealth Movement. If you're not with the Black Wealth Movement and you want to join, if someone invited you to come hang out with us, get with that person who invited you, and they will get you started. If you're here because of my stream, then all you have to do is text Black Wealth Movement to 314-874-6887, or get in my inbox. I'll get you the join link. It's $35 to start, $35 per month. This is our vision. Get our people stable financially through financial education. Once they're stable financial, those who want to go to another level, help them become accredited investors, right? So they can start really building some real wealth, right? Once they become accredited investors, then get 1,000 accredited investors in every major city where Black people concentrate. So we can start buying and owning those cities, right? And then from there, we practice group economics to turn our hoods back into communities. You don't have a community unless you own the hospitals, schools, banks, supermarkets, and real estate. Food, clothing, shelter, safety, security. Security is the hospitals. Safety is our military. Shelter is our housing. Clothing, of course, is why I grow cotton on the side of my house every year, right? Food, why I have a greenhouse in the backyard and I experiment in growing something different every year. Food, clothing, shelter, safety, and security. Why do Black people not like going to hospitals right now today? Because it's a Tuskegee experiment. Why we haven't figured out the need to have our own hospitals to make our people feel safe to come and get treatment that they need? No vision. No vision. So that's the vision of the Black Wealth Movement. You can join us, $35 to start, $35 a month. Take a chance, man. In fact, I will guarantee you $35. If you don't like what we're doing, I can't help you transform your finances in the first 30 days. I'll give you your money back. If you don't learn something from me in the first 30 days that will make you realize this is worth $35 a month, cancel before your first monthly installment is due, and I'll give you your $35 back. So just wanted to share that with you guys, because a lot of people ask, man, where are you going with this Black Wealth Movement thing? Well, there it is. It's all laid out for you guys. We have a game plan, but you can't see and really evaluate the game plan from the outside. You got to get inside. You can't really evaluate the game plan from the outside. You got to get inside. And it only costs you $35 to get inside. Take a look at everything that we have going on. If you say, man, after looking at all this stuff, man, that thing you talking about ain't gonna work. Okay, get out and get your money back. Most of you guys are trying to evaluate this thing from the outside. It's $35, man. It's $35, right? So I'm H Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community. Until I talk to you guys next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve it. Peace out, y'all.